Okay, so it's Peter to throw for the bullseye first.
Well, this is it then, the final floor match of 2019, and what a fitting end to the Players' Championship season, as two of the key protagonists in the series of events for the year, Peter Wright and Krzysztof Ratajski, go head-to-head. Both of the players have won 2 of these Players' Championship titles this year, and they were both involved in a history-making match here in Barnsley 24 hours ago, when Peter Wright produced the world record.
Bullseye, so Peter's won the ball.
Live broadcast average 123.5 in a 6-0 whitewash win against Krzysztof Ratajski, making history before the history maker, Brendan Dolan, went on to take the title. Ratajski out for revenge, and he's going to have to produce
100.
Something special if Wright gets it anywhere near as right in this final. He's just got some revenge against his big rival Gerwyn Price to get here, and he could
98.
end up pipping Price and finishing top of the pile in terms of the seedings for the Players' Championship finals, for which the field has been complete today. I'm Chris Murphy, and joining me to talk you through this final floor match of the season,
180,
is Dan Dawson.
Yeah, well, a fitting way, I think, to end the Players' Championship series. You have a man, a Polish number 1, who, by my reckoning, over the last 2 years, his first 2 years on the tour, unless he didn't even have a card, remember, he was just playing a lot of events, topping up the numbers, won 3 titles.
65.
For him to do that and then follow it up this year in the manner that he's done, he's added a stage title on the Euro Tour as well. He is up there in the averages. I think it's only a matter of time before Krzysztof Ratajski
42
is up there in the world rankings. He's already closing in on the top 20. He could go to the Players' Championship finals as the top seed, unbelievably.
It would be the man who he beat
95.
in the semis, Gerwyn Price, who he would dislodge from that position. Price fought back in that semi-final, but Ratajski had left him with too much work to do. Even missed double 18 for a 9 darter
47
in that semi-final. But Wright looks at double 18, the same target. Now double 9.
43.
Well, both players have hit maximums in this leg, but Ratajski's going to have to take out a big 3-figure combination checkout to win it. He's not going to do that. Wright will return, looking at double 9 again.
Well, Peter Wright splits this. 2 for double 8s. He's not been entirely convincing on double 8 in the games I've seen of him today.
Game shot.
But that's a great use of that marker dart. Does pin it to get the first leg in this one. Race to 8 to remember, and that's important because you only have to think back to Krzysztof Ratajski's epic final
100
with Gerwyn Price in Dublin, where it was all one man, all the other, and then Price just nicked it at the end.
100.
Well, he's just lost at least an 8th consecutive leg.
140.
Wright. The meeting yesterday was a whitewash, and the time before that was 6-1, and it probably is more than that. I'm not 100% sure when Ratajski got the 1 in that meeting on the Euro Tour.
129.
He would have to do something that he's never done to take today's title, which is beat Peter Wright.
Well, that's it. You go back to 2017 when Krzysztof Ratajski started turning up on the European Tour and started making an impression. Now, he wasn't going particularly deep in Euro Tours because he kept on being drawn against Peter Wright in either the second or the third round, over and over and over again. If it wasn't Wright, it was Van Gerwen. It was one of the big names.
60.
Joe Cullen was another. But 3 times in 2017, he drew Peter Wright in a Euro Tour, and 3 times he was beaten. He then got him at the European Championship in the first round and was beaten again.
95.
He ran into Peter Wright when he was dominating the European Tour. But now he's a different man. He's a 6-time PDC title winner. Can he finally get one over on the man who did swagger around the European circuit a couple of years ago, winning everything, but hasn't won one since?
Yeah.
Treble 17, not found.
Yeah,
Peter
37.
peers over the shoulder of Ratajski,
85.
delighted with what he's seen because it means that he will have a go at this 72.
57.
Double 6. Double 3.
69.
And Peter Wright finds himself on 1 double 1. Krzysztof Ratajski
56.
cannot find his way level just yet. Head in hands from the Polish Eagle.
There's the one.
Game
There's
shot.
the double one. Wright doubles his lead, and Ratajski, well, is snake bite in his head. We know that Gerwin Price has been in his head, and he's put that right by winning that semi-final, although there were big wobbles, signs of big wobbles from Ratajski, who was really in full flow in the middle of the match.
134.
Led it 6-2, but missed 5 match darts before finally closing it out 7-5.
It's still average 107 nearly, so I mean, wobbles or no, if you're playing well enough to have a wobble and still average 107 at the
59.
end of the game, you're doing something right, aren't you? At the end of the year, there'll be an award for Best Pro Tour Player of the Year, based on
59.
floor form and Pro Tour stuff, so European Tours and these Players' Championship events. Peter Wright, Krzysztof Ratajski, Gerwin Price, they'll all be in the mix for that.
139.
And who knows, the result of this game could go a long way to determining who walks away with it. James Wade's obviously won 5 of these events. He'll be in the mix. Michael van Gerwen has won a few.
140.
Jose de Sousa's won a couple. Dave Chisnell as well. I mean, it's this year's Players' Championship Series has been fascinating.
57.
And it has not been dominated by one man. It has been, there have been spells of dominance from players, but there have been a lot of big names competing regularly and producing world-class stuff. Peter Wright is one of those guys.
55.
A good point. We have had probably as many players as I can remember in recent years fighting it out on the Pro Tour,
97.
but consistently being in the business end of tournaments. Wright looking to stretch his lead to 3 legs,
Game shot.
and does so, but it is a far cry from the kind of performance that he produced yesterday against Ratajski in the quarterfinals when he went 14-13, 11-11, 12-12 for that record average. But it is still more than enough to have opened up a 3-0 lead here.
Well, that's the danger, isn't it? If Peter Wright, and you only had to look at Krzysztof's
140.
reaction at the end of that game, where he seemed more excited about the world record being broken than Peter did. Certainly seemed more aware of it. But
81.
if somebody's averaging 120 against you, you don't mind finding yourself 3-0 down. If they're averaging 90 and you're 3-0 down, then it's frustrating, because you also believe that Peter Wright at some point is going to stop
180.
averaging 90 and start averaging a heck of a lot more.
Yeah, that is spot on, and we did see yesterday
97.
Brendan Dolan take advantage of that. Seeing off Wright in the semis when he dropped his standard a little bit
140.
before beating White in the final.
Yeah, well, his standard has dropped. He started off the day so brilliantly, Peter Wright, averaging about 106 for his first 4 games, but then a couple of averages around about the 90 mark.
142.
But Aaron Monk and Danny Nopper only managed to get 4 legs off in between them. Double 16 for 4-0.
Game shot.
And Peter Wright with an 11 darter has burst into life, and unfortunately for Krzysztof Ratajski, even when he was half asleep, it was good enough to win legs.
Well, he might have gone into this final thinking, will I ever beat Peter Wright?
100.
He might now be thinking, will I ever win a leg against Peter Wright, who is halfway to a second consecutive whitewash win. And he's not playing you or I, Dan.
99.
He's playing one of the top performers in PDC darts this year.
One of the top performers in the world, full stop. Krzysztof Ratajski, Gibraltar Darts Trophy winner. It's 2 years since Peter Wright won a Euro Tour. And he's been at all of them.
180.
But Peter Wright has also, this year, become the biggest 180 hitter in world darts. And it has not led to as many titles as he picked up a couple of years ago, 2017. But it has certainly helped him claim the haul that he's got, the World Series title, 2 of these, maybe a 3rd here today. And who knows, it could help him pick up the Champions League this weekend.
Well, it is looking
60.
for back-to-back 11 dart legs. He might have just embarked on the kind of spell that saw him produce that mesmeric, magical performance against this opponent just over 24 hours ago. It is a dozen darts in the end, but the end may be coming quicker than Ratajski would have hoped for in this final. 5-0 to Peter Wright.
134.
Well, you wouldn't have thought it, but Krzysztof Ratajski probably prefers playing Gerwyn Price, the big muscle-bound bloke who keeps shouting and screaming at him and getting up in his face. Mild-mannered Peter Wright is brutalising him every time he goes up against him. Doesn't matter whether it's 2017 or 2019, it's worse.
What I do like about Krzysztof Ratajski,
97,
we've discussed before, is that he kind of mirrors his opponent, doesn't he? He copies their attitude at times. So if they just get on with throwing darts, he's happy to do that. If they're going to give it some, reference the matches against Gerwyn Price, won at this stage last year against Adrian Lewis, which he won
91
in a final.
In fact, he's looking to win the last Pro Tour of the year in consecutive years, Krzysztof Ratajski. But they've give it large, he's give it back.
Yeah, he has many different modes of playing, and he seems comfortable in all of them.
Well, he's looking comfortable in this leg. Is it time for Ratajski to get one on the board?
140.
Well, he is capable of going on bursts as well. We saw it at the end of his game with Jermaine Watamina. Saw it against Gerwyn Price. Not going to see him take the 130, but 98. It doesn't have to go right now. The 32 will have to go when he returns.
Yeah, he had a 10 and 11 dart leg back-to-back against Price. Price responded with an 11 darter of his own. Fantastic semi-final. This to end the drought.
Game shot.
It's literally been years, but Krzysztof Ratajski has won a leg against Peter Wright. Good leg as well. And look where he is. I know he's not had many darts at double.
85.
But Ratajski is averaging around about that 96 mark. His average has not dropped below 96 all day. He is averaging over 100 for the day. He just lives at these numbers. The number of times you see Krzysztof Ratajski average less than this sort of 95, 96, they are so few. And that will win you games. It will win you games. It will see you go far in tournaments. The question is, can he go far in the big ones? We've seen he's got gears. We've seen those big averages from him, 110s, 111s. It's about being able to produce those in some big tournaments. If he does, then I think that the European Championship might be very much like Mensur Suljovic, where he goes on and has his first big impression in a big TV major in the PDC.
Yeah, well, it was the European Championship when he did last win a leg against Wright.
85.
Almost 2 years ago. Let's put that right. Can he now try and feel his way into this final? The advantage that he has in comparison
59.
to yesterday is that this is a race to 8, not a race to 6. When Wright went bonkers against him for 10 minutes or so.
140.
Oh, Snakebite looking to get this victory train back on track.
99.
Aiming to claim a 24th PDC title by my reckoning, although it is difficult to keep track of with Peter Wright.
Double 8.
Game shot.
Nicely done, and it would be a very, very interesting title for Peter Wright to win, because when he picked up a title earlier this year at the World Series, he went on to win the next two. And we do have
180.
5 TV events coming up in the next 6 weeks. Peter Wright will be in the running anywhere, but if he can find a similar run of form that he did around then, it might be trophy time for Snakebite.
100.
Well, semi-finalist yesterday, finalist and potentially winner today. But hang about, because Krzysztof Ratajski for perfect darts, but we will not see
137.
the 9-darter in this leg. Have seen a 9-darter, seen many 9-darters this year in the Pro Tour, so one in a final from Ian White just a matter of days ago.
97.
Yeah, Gavin Price had one earlier today. We saw Ratajski miss the double in the
58.
semi-final against Price. We saw him tee up one earlier, didn't we, against Jermaine Watermaner. In fact, in both of those, he went with back-to-back 177s at the start of the legs.
Right, may look at the 54.
98.
But he can't find it, and Ratajski's shot 6 darts here to double his leg tally. And
58.
chips away, but you're never safe with Peter Wright in this mood, because you always feel there's a big visit coming. .75 scored. Leaves him 1-3-1.
100.
Really sure what he gains from that, but
Double 4.
64.
Wright will have the chance. Has become, as you mentioned earlier, the biggest power scorer in the game this year. He was renowned previously for his clinical finishing, but he couldn't check that out after a single dart.
74.
oh, the Polish Eagle fancied it.
No score.
But that might be the end of the Poles' resistance. Until Gerwyn Price beat him in the last leg decider, he had a perfect record in PDC finals. Kept on winning them.
Game
But
shot.
Peter Wright is not only set to beat Krzysztof Ratajski, he is set to annihilate him. But that's just what Peter Wright has done. Krzysztof Ratajski, this Polish Superman, has found his kryptonite, and it is a Mohican tyre fitter from Scotland/East Anglia.
96.
What does he have to do to beat him? It may have to be a high-profile victory at something like the European Championship, because you can see those two in this sort of form
134.
meeting at some point in that tournament.
So Peter Wright will be in action at the weekend at the Champions League of Darts. He will be
180.
opening the show against Daryl Gurney on Saturday afternoon as TV time comes up. But is it time up
43.
for Krzysztof Ratajski in this final, because Wright's 180 has given him breathing space in this leg as he looks to close out another comfortable win against an opponent who just can't
55.
quite seem to live with him.
An astonishing 30 180s today for Peter Wright. 3-0. That's full
60.
Vidi printer typing it out kind of numbers. Can he end it with the biggest checkout of the lot? Another one in there for Snakebite to reel in the title.
145.
Almost the ultimate showpiece shot from Peter Snakebite Wright to seal the deal.
100.
Not quite the firework finish.
Game
But
shot. and the
Snakebite
match.
does get it right in the decider and roars to another convincing win against Krzysztof Ratajski. An 8-1 success in the decider for Peter Wright. Yesterday, when this pair met, Peter Wright produced a world record performance. That didn't result in a title, but today he does take the title. He'll add £10,000 to his bank account and his world ranking. And Peter Wright will be a big, big danger in the TV events that come up. He wins the title today, and we're going to hear what he thinks about that and yesterday and the upcoming events as Peter Wright is downstairs talking to Dan.
Peter, ending the Pro Tour with your 3rd title on this year.
Cool, yeah. Got that.
And look, the darts you've played over the last 2 days, some of it has been mind-blowing. Before we get to this, yesterday, world record in a broadcast game. That's that's against that man there. I mean, it's special, isn't it?
Yeah, I wanted to beat him 8-0 because I wanted to keep him down because he's an excellent player. He's a fantastic player. But obviously, it's been past 2 days very tiring for both of us. So, the averages went great. So, do apologise for that.
Well, you say that, but then today you started off. You had a 104, 98, 105, 110, 105. I mean, this is world-class stuff. This is the sort of stuff you're playing leading up to the match play.
Yeah, but some silly diamond darts I've been told to use with Joe keep telling me to use.
And you threw a world record with yesterday.
Oh, no. Yeah. The secret is, I think I could win the Worlds if I don't pick these darts up until a week before the Worlds. Then I could do it. But if I use them from now until then no.
When we saw you win back-to-back titles here and that World Series event, going into the match play, you looked like the form player on the planet, and it took a world-class display from Darryl Gurney to stop you in the match play.
Exactly. Yeah.
Here, are you feeling similar going into the Champions League of Darts this coming weekend, live on the BBC?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, I lost to Gary last year, and he played fantastic. I beat MVG in the semis, and that took it out of me. I think I approached Champions League last year with a brand new set of darts, and I got to final with them. But if I use these ones, I got 5 different sets, new sets indoors in packages that I'm not going to open. I'm not going to open them. I promise. I promise you all. I won't open them all. And I'm looking forward to it. Before that Champions League, as you say, the group I'm in, the round robin bit, earlier on in the season, the beginning of the season, you went, that's not a bad group, because Darryl wasn't playing well, Gezi wasn't playing that well, Rob wasn't quite on his game. Now Rob's won the world match play, Gezi's playing out fantastic, and Darryl's playing not too shabby either.
Arguably, that group looks like the group of death compared to the other one, and that's got Michael Van Gerwen and Gary Anderson.
I'm the outsider, and I'm playing not too bad either.
Not bad at all. 4 titles this year. Yes, they've added that. I'm losing track. It's 20.
World Cup. Yeah.
And the World Cup as well, of course.
Only took 3 titles.
3 titles, World Cup and World Series event. Come on now, Peter. Yeah, come on now, Peter, in front of thousands of people in Cologne.
Sorry.
I know your target is you want to win everything. You want to win the World Championship. Champions League, Grand Slam, Minehead, all of these, European Championship, all of these are possible with the way you've been playing, and that is the gap on your CV, isn't it? I've won all these titles, more than 20, but I don't have enough major ones on the telly.
Exactly. There's so many good players around now. It's very difficult. Obviously the European Championships first round, I got Jeffrey Duswan, who, he's no mug, and I look forward to that getting me ready for the next round.
Well, looking sharp, Peter Wright, one of the stars of the Pro Tour. That brings an end to the Players' Championship Series. 30 events, a whole new range of winners. Some of the established names like Peter Wright, but we've had Harry Ward, Jose de Sousa.
Do you know a probably fact? If you look back, actually, Gary normally wins the last Players' Championships. If you look back, Gary normally wins the last.
Do you know who won the last one last year?
No, Gary.
That man you've just annihilated, Krzysztof Ratajski, did the double just before.
But normally, and I've lost in the final a couple of times to Gary. I only know that.
Omens. Peter Wright, one of the form players on the planet. We have got loads more darts coming up. The Champions League next weekend on the BBC. We've got the European Championship, the World Series finals, the Grand Slam. All on PDC TV, depending on where you are in the world, or ITV and the BBC, and of course, Sky Sports, the Grand Slam. That's it from us for the Pro Tour this year, and the Players' Championship Series, brought to you by the good people at Loop Productions. Now, was the £10,000 prize the winner? Was the hundreds of thousands of pounds prize money the win? Or the glory, such as Peter has claimed?
Or was the real prize the friends we made along the way?